participating journalists and civil society organizations, as well as government officials from information and justice ministries in Delta State, converged in Asaba for a 2-day intensive capacity building training aimed at strengthening advocacy and media engagement on disability rights. The training focused on Disability Discrimination Prohibition Act 2018 at the national level and its domestication in Delta State Protection of Persons with Disability Law 2024. Facilitators took participants through key provisions of the Act and Delta State domesticated law covering the prohibition of discrimination, the right to accessibility, reasonable accommodation, education, and penalties for non-compliance, where violating corporate bodies can pay up to 1 million and individuals 100,000 naira as fine or a 6 months imprisonment.
So for this training, we believe that there is a problem with media framing of persons with disabilities. So you know that the media has educational function beyond entertainment, and they have to inform the public, to educate or to challenge stereotypes. And the media so far have not done a fair job in how to present persons with disabilities. They are presented as beggars, right? They approach disability issues from a place of charity, not from a place of right. So that is why we had this training, so that journalists can actually shift their way of reporting issues around persons with disabilities. It should be right-based. It should be from a place of integrity, not from a place that is so condescending for persons with disabilities.
Seen the law, we've explained the law. One of the things we expect journalists to do after this training is to create awareness about the law.
Terminology is very important. And we are not disabled people, we are people with disability. Okay? We put the person first and the condition last. So that said, the policy was formulated to have a resource center in every school. That's why the first tranche of implementation, we have recommended some special schools, not special in the sense that, but inclusive schools, that's the right word. Yeah. So there are inclusive schools in Abuja, and I think there should be one or two here. A school where we practice true inclusivity. So in those schools, knowing fully well that the resource is scarce, knowing fully well that not all the children have a disability. So we instructed that there should be a resource center, and in the resource center, all these things you're mentioning will be provided. And there's a resource center teacher.
For participants, the capacity building will impact on their advocacy work with better tools to engage government institutions and demand compliance with the law.
Okay, this is something that is not quite popular, I must say. This training is an eye-opener. It has really taught me a lot. A lot of things that I didn't know about, to be frank. Yeah, and it has added to the average of knowledge I have as a media person. So moving forward, I will join the train, the bandwagon. I'll preach the gospel of inclusivity as a concerned person living with disabilities, so that the government would take drastic efforts in order to implement this.
Generally, is a boost to the community of persons with disabilities in terms of inclusion, because ordinarily before now we have been struggling as it has to do with issues affecting persons with disability, because most of the times they look at us with disdain and from the angle of pity. But with the involvement of journalists taking up our matter in terms of reporting, they will be able to know that it's all about empathy, engaging persons with disabilities, and including them in all aspects of life.
They also pledged to sustain collaboration between the media and civil society to advance the rights and dignity of persons with disability in the states. The organizers expressed optimism that the training will translate into increased awareness, stronger advocacy, and improved media coverage of disability issues across Delta State. Charles Kosipre for ADBN News, Asaba.